We can take all the things we've looked at so far in calculated fields, put them to real use, and calculate the age of our customers. Now, you don't store age in databases because it changes. It changes every time somebody has a birthday. What we do store, though, is their date of birth, and we then need to calculate their age. Ideally, this is done in a query, and we would simply run that query, and it would calculate everyone's age as of that point in time. So how do we go about calculating someone's age in an Access query? Well, the first thing is we need a new query in Design based on our customers. Close the show table. So let's pull up their first name and last name and their birth date. We need a new column, which I'm going to call age. Let's call it age with a capital A, colon. And then let's zoom in so we can see what we're doing. Now, in order to calculate someone's age, we need to make use of today's date. To get today's date in Access, we need the function date, open and close brackets. So unlike the other functions we've used, the date function requires nothing feeding into it. It doesn't work on another value. It works on itself and calculates today's date. We then need to take away from that the birth date of the individual concerned. Now, if we do that, it will work and it will calculate the person's age, but in days. Probably too large a number for us to be worried about, more scared about. So what we need to do is take those days. So I'm going to put them in open and close brackets so that it does the takeaway first, and then divide that result. So that's /365.25. So that's the number of days in a year and a quarter to allow for leap years. Now that will work, but it will give us a number of decimal places because of dividing by a quarter. So what I need to do to the whole of that is feed that into another function called int, which will return me just the integer value. So if it returned a value of 47.759, it would just say 47. Because the person is not 48, we don't want the value rounding up. They're not 48 until they reach their next birthday. So this is the way to calculate age in any database-driven environment, really. We simply need today's date. Now in Access, that's date, open and close brackets. In other programs, it will be slightly different. Take away the field that contains their date of birth, which in our case is birth date. Make sure that that does that first. So we've put brackets around that little takeaway. So the takeaway gets done before the divide. Without those brackets, it would try and divide the birth date by 365.25 and then take that result away from date. And we would get some crazy, very inaccurate answer. So we need those brackets around there to make sure that gets done first, calculates how many days old the person is. Then we divide the number of days by 365.25 to allow for leap years. And then we simply run all of that through the int function to give us our whole number, so the person's age. Okay. Access seems happy with the syntax. And then view. Now I've placed the birth date in here so that you can actually see if the age is right. So somebody born in 1966 is 47 at this moment in time. 65 is 47. That's because it depends on where we are in the current year. August 68 is 44. July 78 is 35. So it would appear to be working correctly. It has worked out people's ages. Now the age is much easier to relate to and work on than the birth date. If we needed to find out everyone who was nearing retirement, we could then simply look at the age column. Instead of trying to figure out, well, when should they have been born? We simply go to the age column and say anyone who is greater than 55. We need to just have a quick look at them. View, and we find that there's actually quite a few of them, 5,862. Let's find out how many of them should be retired. 66. View, and there's 1,895. So our customers do tend to lean towards the higher end of the age bracket. Do we have anybody under 18 who perhaps shouldn't be buying our products? The age is less than 18. So these are the same criteria we've used previously, but now we're using them on our new calculated field and they still work. Luckily, there's no one under 18. What about under 24? That's good. There's nobody down at that bracket trying to buy our products that are only for adults. So we would save this, QRY, ages of customers. Okay, without that criteria, because that would only be young customers. So save to make those changes. So that's the age of anything, not necessarily a person. It could be the age of an order. It could be how long since they last bought anything from you. Carried out the same way. Today's date, take away whatever date you're dealing with, divide by 365.25 to turn into years, and then integer the whole lot. If you wanted to calculate how many weeks between the person's date of birth and today's date, or a particular event and today's date, then you would simply divide by 7, because that's how many days there are in a week. So that's the age. Perfect example of a useful calculated field.